Greetings everyone, welcome back to my sketchbook. Sometimes I like to pretend that I was called into a boardroom as part of the marketing department and have them say, listen, we want to do a promotional thing just for fun. We're not really going to change the image of our logo or mascot. We just want to do a promotional thing. And I like to sort of change something once in a while, just for my own sort of amusement. Anyway, as you can see, this says it would be 156 grams of this particular product. What is this? Now, some of you have seen these before. This is a little mini brand's version of that can, but it has the old-timey logo on it. So instead of just eyebrows, it has like a pile of hair and a bow tie that doesn't say Pringles on it. It says Pringles underneath. That's a weird revamp of that entire thing to me. Maybe just too much work went into that one. I don't know, but I find that interesting. It's not one of the Mandela effects. But anyway, we're going to revisit some part of that. Let's open up the inkwell here. And I'm going to do kind of my version of it. Now, I'm not going to do one of those, the wacky versions or, the disgusting version that I guess they still do that now, where they get a brand and then they change it so that it looks like it's goopy or whatnot. I'm just going to zoom in here, see if it'll kind of focus on something. Ooh. And if it doesn't, that took too long. So yeah, I'm going to draw up my version of it. So I'm going to start with the eyes. I'm going to put in this little like moon glow in the pupil. Now with the can and the being that's on it, they almost seem to be looking off to one side, almost kind of in a patriotic way, like a Superman kind of, I don't know, a glance up to one side as if to say, I'm proud of this. These Pringles are amazing. Enjoy this snack. It is the greatest of all things. I don't know what really is going on with that, but anyway. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to have it so the eyes represent Pringles in a different way. By the way, I'm not sponsored by Pringles. I don't want you to think, oh, this YouTube doodling human being is trying to get me to buy this product. No, I'm not trying to get you to buy this product. I just think that it looks kind of neat. And I'm going to take it serious enough that, I don't know, maybe it'll be a half an hour, maybe it'll be 15 minutes. We'll see how long this takes. So I have a couple of assignments for you. If you have not been here before, I encourage you to return after October or on October the 1st to participate in Inktober. Now you can go to inktober.com and get all the daily prompts, but the idea here is to draw something every day. And to make it easier, I actually encourage people, if they're kind of worried about spending a lot of time doing it, is to do it kind of like a collage where you do a drawing, a little tiny drawing, on one page with each of the prompts and do it every day. I set a time limit of 10 minutes. And from there, yeah, I don't have to, like, spend 3 hours on a drawing. Getting back to this. Now, the mustache is kind of, because the head is tilted, one side is a little bit bigger than the other, perspective-wise. And they use kind of almost like a yin-yang, kind of like super teardrop with this old-timey moustache. And then this side is a little bit smaller. I don't know if you could say that this is like a, kind of a walrusy looking thing. Kind of reminds me of Mr. Monopoly. Mr. Moneybags. That seems interesting. Now we're going to take this mustache a little bit more serious. We're going to work in some of the strands of hair. The mustache. I suppose if I were so crafty, I would have done this for November, because November is about Movember, and it's one of the things that I don't really grow mustaches, but I generally participate in Movember, which is to raise awareness and money for prostate cancer research. So that's a great thing. Now let's see. Not many people can really get away with a mustache elegantly, and maybe they just need the right type of mustache. One of the first times that a group of us were involved, so here's kind of the fun thing. We all put in $20, and whoever grows the best or the favorite mustache gets the tax receipt. Well, one of the participants grew a mustache that was so, I don't want to mock it. No, I should mock it. There was like 13 hairs on one side and maybe like 17 on the other, and they were all just scraggly. Anyway, that person knows who they are, but it was, anyway, so they got the tax receipt, and at that time, I think there were 35 of us, something like that. So they got the tax receipt, and we laughed our faces off, and then we shaved off the mustaches. But that was one of the funniest things. So yeah, not everyone can grow a mustache. I'm sure my good buddy Frank could grow a mustache when he was like 7. Some people can just grow mustaches. Probably within, maybe 2 weeks, my mustache would be full enough. But yeah, I don't really enjoy mustaches very much. Now, let's see here. So, do any of you have logos that you like to doodle? I know Nike. It's a pretty easy one, the swoosh. Some people really have a great appreciation for like Louis Vuitton. Some of those brands I don't really understand, like as luxury brands, because they're not always, and I'm not picking on anyone in particular, but it seems like they're more about the brand itself than the actual products. Because sometimes you get like really well made things, and the company behind it is not as well known. And other times you get, very well known companies, but cheaply made products, but you're buying like the trademark usage or whatever, and I'm not nearly as impressed by that kind of thing. Like, I'm not going to name drop, but sometimes you'd be, I don't know, you're buying something just based on the name, and the product itself is just horrible. So that is the Pringles face, I think. I'm going to do a little slight curl at the end of that, as if we'd waxed it. I don't mind that. Next, let's do the outline of the face. I'm using this sketching technique of many short lines. And the reason why that technique exists, I think, is it allows you to have some semblance of control. So if I did a solid line around, but then it swerved funny, it's hard to go back and kind of correct that. Whereas this one, I can go, well, a little bit at a time. So if I had pre-penciled this, that would be easier to cope with. Now let's see here. Just trying to get that to focus a little bit. Let's see here. I do like the eyebrows on the old-timey one, so I'm going to put that in, but I also kind of like the hair. So this one has just the eyebrows, and then the mini one has the hair. I'll do both. Sometimes the old logos are due to be updated. And other times, it's kind of a bad idea because people are really attached to things. I think Cracker Barrel kind of ran into this issue recently, and there was, I don't know if it was an outcry. I think what ends up happening is like 20 people kind of start to complain, and then people assume that that 20 people is like, 100,000 people. Really? I don't know. Uh, but I'm sure someone sat around in a boardroom and they were kind of like, hey, it seems like there's an outcry. I don't know if there was that much of an outcry, to be honest with you. Cracker Barrel, they have kind of like a core group of people that would uh, go there. And maybe some of them said, oh, what's with this? But I mean, isn't it kind of the same, food and products? I don't know. I want people to be happy. Now, oops. I don't think I'm going to add any color to this. I'll probably just leave it black and white. But I'm almost done with this beautiful hair, which in a way kind of mimics the mustache. Leaving enough space for those eyebrows not to be totally lost in it. The bow tie, I think, is an important part of the look. But I'm going to draw it my way. Kind of indents in a little bit. We'll use our imaginations instead of going for red, which would be the easiest thing. So yeah, well, if any of you know anybody at Pringles, send this to them and say, hey, you guys should do just a salt and pepper chip. And no, I'm just kidding. Old-fashioned flavors. They're kind of like a freeze-dried thing, I think, and then in some ways possibly reconstituted into the shapes. It's rather a unique process, I would think, to make this kind of uniform chip. Like if you got mashed potatoes and, I don't know, form them, basically. I think that's probably how they make them. They're not cutting potatoes to make this product. Otherwise, you'd only get like, a handful of chips out of each potato. And what a neat idea to do it this way, I should say. Now I'm wondering if I should have added some color. Oh well, we've dedicated ourselves. Here's your next assignment. If you haven't been here before, feel free to, well, like and comment and share. Like if you want to get together with some friends and draw along with me, so that's fun too. You can subscribe. You don't have to leave the notifications on because I do frequently spend time with this, so you don't want to have, well, if you can, if you want, but you know, you don't have to leave notifications on. But yeah, come back and hang out. You know how long the video is, so if you're going to be like, oh, I'm going to draw for 25 minutes, then you just see how long the video is and listen to me ramble on about some weird things. You can do that. Sometimes it's fun to set aside time to do something artsy. So we've taken the Pringles logo, kind of serious, and that's kind of fun. And again, not sponsored, that's fine. But just so you don't think I'm trying to sell you a product. And also, I'm not in any way disrespecting the product. This is just a fun thing to do. I'm just kind of working on the outline a little bit of it. Just kind of cleans up the image just a little bit. This pen does fine detail work, but broad lines, not so much. And this is kind of the workhorse of my YouTube sketchbook. So yeah, head on out, get yourself a can of, I'm just kidding. Eat whatever you like. If you prefer, you know, a sandwich, get a sandwich. If you prefer some French fries, get some French fries. I don't think I need to go any further than that. That is my take on the Pringles mascot. I could be crafty and put in a bottom lip. That'd be funny, I guess. But we're leaving it just like that, as if this mustache is so big and so beautiful that it just, yeah, you don't see the mouth. Oh, you know what would be this is just a thought that I had. So maybe at some point in the future, maybe we need to have a can of Magnum PI Pringles. That's awesome. Okay, well, keep that in mind for the future, because that's one of the few human beings on the planet that can kind of get away with a mustache. In fact, doesn't make sense without a mustache. Tom Selleck is, yeah, he wears a mustache, and like no one else. Actually, you know what? Sam Elliott also is a famous mustache wearer. So there are some out there. All right, folks. I've dedicated close to 25 minutes to that. Thanks for hanging out. Hopefully we'll see you at some point in the near future. And yeah. Oh, this is kind of a fun thing. All right. Ciao for now.